If the same problem AI can do it faster, why should I even keep you in my company? And then secondly, talking about impact as part of our topic, what are some of the clear KPIs we can indicate to ensure that whatever we are doing, we'll be able to measure it? Because if we can't measure it, we can't control or improve upon it. So two questions in one: building a business case and also the KPIs that can help us in the successful implementation of AI. So a general question to all of us, and then we'll take your final words and then we call it a wrap.
Okay, so building a use case. Well, use case literally means you have a use case. You have what do you call a use for it, isn't it? What I would say is that maybe you look at it this way: start by piloting something, right? You can start looking at the pain points in your people operations as well as the leveraging points. So maybe over the past say 5 years, if you have been looking at your data, you realize that maybe retention rate keeps going down. 4 years ago, it was 90%, you loved it. The year after, it dropped to 86%, and it keeps dropping. It's a pain point, right? The flip side of it will be turnover. So whether turnover or retention, if it's turnover, it's a pain point. It's something undesirable. You don't want it, whether or not the candidate is one who will stay, perform, and grow. They are very, very important. So you are not just recruiting. Right at the onset of recruitment, you want to have a profile. And how do you do that? You step into your historical data, which is why I talked about data. If you are collecting the data well and storing it well, it will be handy at some point. So if I have a 10-year historical data and I fed this into the applicant tracking system, what it's going to do for me is that I'm not only using the applicant tracking system to recruit, but it's also giving me, a view into everyone's performance. If at the end you go, even when they say for the applicant tracking system embedded with AI says this candidate will leave, will not perform, and will not grow, it's a scorecard, right? It's up to you to decide whether to still go ahead and recruit that person. Let's say you recruit the person. Now you know that judging from the past, all the things that happened in the past, those who left, right? This person is going to maybe potentially leave. So then you have a plan for this person. Because you know the person is likely to leave. What do I do? How do I incentivize everything around the person, motivate to ensure that if this person is highly competent, but is likely to leave as the model says, how do I keep the person like that? All right, so there's so many ways. So here you are looking at not only speed, you are seeing precision, and you are also seeing impact right there. So that's what I would say. Thank you.
Hello? Okay. So you mentioned pilot study, you mentioned the predictive model, and this data. Mr. Lawson, before you come in, the owner of this car, GM 406314, please move to the car park as soon as possible. GM 406314, kindly move to the car park as soon as possible. GM 406314. Thank you very much. Mr. Lawson, over to you.
Yes, I think Prof has said everything, and I just want to say that the U.S. Navy SEAL, they have a motto. It says that in God we trust, or else we track. So it's important that it all
Please say that again. In God we trust.
In God we trust, or else we track.
Oh.
Okay, so it's important we track everything. Okay, and the data once again is going to play a very pivotal role, just like the examples that was given, so that we can see into the future. Once you have very accurate data, you are keeping data, you can always predict. You don't want to get a shock of your life. You want to see what is going to happen, and if you're keeping these data in place, in future you can actually feed it into an AI, and it's going to direct you on what to do.
Thank you. In God we trust, all else we track. I love that. Finally, Mrs. Phyllis, the business case. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, how do we make a strong business case? Following from identifying the pain points, I also think that it is important as HR people to show value for what we bring to the table. I think many a times we are limited to procedural processes, ensuring that we have the right people in place, making mostly administrative initiatives. I think once the conversation changes to backing our conversations with real data and analytics, it allows for businesses or business leaders to appreciate what we bring on board. Also, looking at measuring or making a business case, sometimes you need to look at the cost. So, for instance, if you're looking at pain points to some of the operations that you undertake, let's look at recruitment, for instance, which we've talked about extensively. AI has been no satisfaction, or in this case, we call our employees our clients, our internal clients. So if you're looking at client satisfaction, for instance, being able to measure engagement with AI and saying to management that, okay, so we realize that we are at this point and these are the key areas where our people need to be engaged, or these are the initiatives that we need to put in place. With backing that with data, then basically it's more of a copy and paste, or just having general evasive conversation without any supporting document to back it. Because with that analysis, you can be able to demonstrate to the organization how it's going to affect the bottom lines, basically. And it also speaks to how we actually engage with technology in everything that we do. The world is changing, like it or not. So we either change with it or get left behind. So it mainly speaks to value. I would like to quote my boss. He always says that, Phyllis, if I knew how to do your job, you won't be sitting here. So it speaks to the value that we bring as a people. And if we're talking about KPIs or some of the metrics to measure, we're looking at time to hire, you're looking at cost to fill any position, you're looking at various other metrics that allow for you to engage effectively, like employee engagement, for instance, for you to be able to plan your learning and development modules. It helps for you to be able to have the relevant data or the relevant analytics to share the information and to make a business case, even for your L&D budget, etc. So it is very important for us to harness technology, AI, in the kind of work we do to make the most impact. Thank you.
Wow, so you mentioned value, and I think data has been prevalent in all your submissions. Data, and you must demonstrate the value. And you made mention of where you told one employee to submit a report. She did so in 30 minutes, if I'm right, but it would have taken about a week. So that can be a good case for you to make, and then employers will invest in AI. And you also mentioned you should look at the cost and also the operations of the whole thing. I think it's been an insightful session. Let's give them a round of applause. Let's appreciate them. So if you didn't get anything at all, it's data. We want to give you an opportunity to ask a few questions. So if you have a question, please line up in the middle for us. A microphone will be given you, and then you can ask your question. Brief questions, please. You mention your name. If you are comfortable, you add the organization, and then your question. So the gentleman in the middle there, if you have a question, is ready to have you. So just make your way to the middle, and then you can ask your questions. Are there any questions? You have a question? Okay, so there's a gentleman coming. So please come to the middle. If you have a question, just make your way to the middle. And to make your questions brief for us, please. brief, your name, if you are comfortable, add the organization, and you go straight to your question. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and thank you so much for the insight and education this afternoon. My name is Felicia Kuneduyamo. I work with Wafa Medical Center at the Accounts Department. I wanted to find out from all of you, honorable panelists, we have spoken, or you've spoken extensively about recruitment, enhancing employee engagement and all that. I think our senior boss said something about disengagement, if I got it right. But I wanted to find out, how can the HR use this AI to predict attrition or disengagement? Because we are looking at recruitment, but how about attrition or disengagement in the HR ecosystem? Thank you.
How can AI be used to predict attrition?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Please add your question and then they take.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. So my name is Brian, I'm from the University of Ghana. And I want to ask, the applicant tracking system and the predictive analysis system that AI have enabled in the workplace, what are the guardrails or regulations that ensure that the systems don't become biased or organizations don't use them in a biased form? For example, an organization might tax the ATS system to not employ people within a certain age range or a gender type. Yeah. So how can we? What are the guardrails and regulations that ensure that they are not used ineffectively?
Please, is the question clear? Okay. So would you want to answer the first question before we add the other gentleman?
Okay.
All right, so Mrs. Phyllis wants to take. All right.
Okay, thank you for your question. Is it patience?
Patience.
Right. Okay. So I think in my submission I mentioned employee engagement. So to measure attrition or to be able to predict attrition, the AI tools that does pulse surveys, measure employee engagement, allow you, and once the engagements are done, you can use the same tools to do a predictive analysis to let you know where the pain points are, where people are feeling disengaged, sometimes even specific behaviors that show disengagement from sometimes the responses that are given, for you to be able to analyze or to be able to predict or sense that, okay, maybe for this category of group or this category of staff, these are the challenges or these are the areas that we need to focus on to make a business case to management on how to put the right interventions in place to maintain or retain your competent staff. So it is. There are several tools. There are several tools for use to gauge attrition within the organization, and then how to measure and guard against attrition. Thank you.
Thank you.